last video, but February 9th is actually the channel's 5-year anniversary on YouTube. So I'm going to be doing a live stream on February 9th, and there's also going to be a Q&A video for that day as well. In a couple days, I'll announce like the day I want you guys to just start asking me questions for that Q&A video. But yeah, February the 9th is the 5-year channel anniversary, and it's going to be a live stream that night as well. Also, you guys can comment down below if you want maybe some all-star snubs. We're going to be talking about them slightly in this video, but there's definitely a lot of good players that were left off this list, so I'm very excited to see your guys' opinions on that. And yeah, make sure you like the video, yada yada yada, and let us get started. Alright, so obviously, trying to fit all of these players on this piece of paper is going to be very difficult, and hopefully you guys can even see what is even on here. Obviously my writing is pretty terrible, but I guess that's sort of the lo-fi effect that you get for this channel. And also, if the player goes by a nickname, like of course with Chris Paul, there's CP3, and some other players go by other names, or I'll maybe just even do their first name or last name, just so you guys aren't confused on what players are what, because I need to leave room, because I think there's like 12 players for every team, so even if we aren't able to fit all the names on here, you guys will get the idea of like what players are going where, so hopefully it's not too complicated. But anyways, like I said at the start of the video, I think it's whoever is the leading vote getter gets the first pick, which is obviously, I don't even need to check. If it's Durant, I'll be very surprised, and I'll delete this video if I'm wrong, but I think LeBron gets the first pick of the All-Star starters. So if you didn't know, the All-Star starters are the first sort of pool of players each captain is sort of picking from. The starters go, and I guess it doesn't matter what conference there is anymore, but there's Giannis, Steph Curry, DeMar DeRozan, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, Ja Morant, Andrew Wiggins, and Trae Young. Those are all of the All-Star starters. I'm assuming there's I'm assuming there's 8 of them, because we have players 9 and 10 right here. So with that being said, LeBron gets the first pick of the starting players, and knowing LeBron James, he's definitely a sort of person who's probably going to be picking a lot of his friends as homies, but he's also a very great basketball mind. Obviously, I think he's won every single NBA All-Star game for like the past handful of years, because he's obviously GM LeBron. He is an amazing GM. So with the first pick of the NBA All-Star draft as LeBron James, who do I think he's going to pick? Well, there are definitely 3 juggernaut names on this listing that I can think of. Obviously, 3 guys on here that, are probably MVP candidates. And knowing LeBron, he has a lot of respect for this guy. I think LeBron's first pick goes to Steph Curry. LeBron battling Curry for years and years and years on the Warriors, and even now on the Lakers, have always been that sort of what-if matchup. If the Lakers are fully healthy and the Warriors fully healthy, how crazy would that battle be? Obviously, this year would probably be very different, but years prior it'd be very interesting. But LeBron picking Steph Curry, I think with his first overall pick. With the second overall pick, go to Kevin Durant, or I guess his first pick, the second overall pick. Like I said, I think there was a pool of 3. Knowing Curry is probably going to be off the listing. If not, I think if LeBron picks any other player, I think Durant, knowing Steph Curry, I don't think there's really bad blood between them. I think He absolutely runs the lane, has a lot of highlight dunks. He's a very fun player to have in All-Star games. Picking up Giannis. Alrighty, with the third overall pick for Team LeBron, picking up a player who LeBron I think really likes, and also you could even argue plays even a lot like LeBron James, just a lot bigger, you could say. Picking up the first of the big man role, I think LeBron picks up another MVP candidate, maybe even the leader of the MVPs, Nikola Jokic. LeBron picking up Nikola Jokic, yes. There are two bigs on this listing, Jokic and Embiid. I think LeBron picks the first of the two. Obviously, again, Jokic playing a very fun style, very all-star style of basketball. Obviously, a lot of passing, a lot of great ball movement, which LeBron also loves. Plays a lot like him. Team LeBron, I think, will look almost exactly like this again, unless LeBron picks someone else with his first pick. I feel like this might be the perfect order for the draft so far. Next up, we have Durant's pick. This is where it gets really tricky, actually. I think with there being a lot of guard play in the NBA All-Star game, I think Durant actually picks, again, maybe another sort of MVP sleeper pick. I think Durant has a lot of respect for a player like Ja Morant, matching him up against Steph Curry, which again we saw in the play-in series. I think that was 2 years ago now, against Curry and Ja. I think Durant picks another sort of scrappy player, has a lot to prove this year, really wants to make a name for himself. I think Ja, out of everyone on this listing so far, is going to be the most try-hard player, which, again, he deserves it. This dude really is maybe a sleeper pick, or maybe even my pick for All-Star Game MVP. So we have a lot of the heavy hitters off the listing. We have a lot of guys to fill in next. With LeBron having a guard, a big, and a forward, I think right now he just sort of picks out sort of filler players. I think he does need another wing player to play alongside him. Out of the wing players, there are two that I can see, and there's one that's maybe arguably better, maybe not even arguably, but I think LeBron picks up an old rival as well, with DeMar DeRozan. Definitely not a bad pickup there again. DeMar knowing a lot about LeBron, obviously being on the Raptors, facing off and losing to LeBron every year, but now being on the same team, I think it'd be kind of cool to see them team up on the same team together. Okay. This is definitely where it gets very tough. I think where Durant goes, I think he probably just picks the next best player, which is probably going to be Joel Embiid. Nothing too crazy there. I think he's just the next available player. I don't think LeBron's going to be picking up another big, because he already has Jokic in himself, who could also play some sort of center position there in the All-Star game. So I think he picks up the next best player. Then we have the two, I guess, well, he's actually technically a forward, in Wiggins and Trae Young. I'm not sure if having Trae Young and Curry on the same team is a great idea. But again, this is an all-star game, and you want as much scoring potential as you can. So you know what? I think LeBron goes bold and picks Trae Young with his pick, his very last starter. So we have a starting five. Oh, that looks really bad, sorry. We have a starting five of probably Trae Young at the point guard, Curry at the 2, DeMar at the 3, LeBron at the 4, and Jokic at the 5. Then for Durant in his last pick, obviously gets the ladder of the All-Star starters, and I do think he's probably going to be the last guy chosen. We have Andrew Wiggins, G-G-I-N-S, right? G-G-I-N-S, yeah. And then for Team Durant, we have Ja, Wiggins, then we have Durant, Giannis, and Joel Embiid as his 5. I think this is pretty good. I think this is almost perfect. I think the first couple picks are really solid. After that, it might get a little dicey. I think Durant takes the sleeper All-Star Game MVP pick in Ja Morant with his sort of wild card pick. And then after that, it might go a little bit haywire. But I think if Durant goes with Ja, I mean, it might go exactly the way I'm thinking it will be. So, again, some snake type of pick now. So he gets the first pick of the All-Star reserves, which go. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this as fast as possible. Devin Booker, Jimmy Butler, Luka Doncic, Darius Garland, Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, James Harden, Zach LaVine, Chris Middleton, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, Jason Tatum, Cat or Karl Anthony Towns, and Fred VanVleet. Now, Draymond Green has already come out to say that he's not going to be playing in this year's All-Star game, so I'm going to be drafting him as if he was Draymond Green, but it's a replacement player. We don't know who it is. If it's someone super crazy, it might tilt the scales of the All-Star game, but I'm still going to be drafting him as Draymond Green. So again, like I said, Durant getting the first pick of the reserves. Usually how this goes during All-Star games, guys usually just pick their buddies, and with the first pick of the reserves, I did say that James Harden was on the reserve team, and I think Kevin Durant picks his buddy, his teammate, James Harden with his first pick. It's usually just how All-Star games go. I don't think Durant's going to give LeBron the chance to get James Harden and have them sort of match up against each other. I think no matter what, if your teammate is on the board, you pick him. So, James Harden, first pick of the reserves. Then we go back to LeBron, and this is really tough for me because, again, knowing LeBron James, he is a great basketball mind, great basketball GM, but he's also kind of like, he really wants to be teamed up with his friends. He's very much a friend guy. He's shown that before in other All-Star games. So you know what? I think definitely in these sort of latter years of his career and their career, him and his friend, who's also having a very good year, I'm going to say and go on a limb, and I'm going to say LeBron picks up CP3, Chris Paul, for his first pick of the reserves, having a very good year. Obviously, the Phoenix Suns are the best team in basketball right now, and again, I think, of course, there are a lot of great players on the reserve team, and maybe LeBron may go Luka Doncic here because he also loves Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic has already come out to say he really, matches his game with LeBron a lot, but I think LeBron picks his BFF Chris Paul off the reserves first. And again, like I said before, knowing Kevin Durant, he really wants to win this All-Star game. He is going to be trying to pick the best team possible, and this guy arguably an All-Star snub. Well, All-Star starter snub, I should say. I think Durant actually picks up Luka Doncic, who is also maybe one of my picks for All-Star Game MVP this year. Really has had a very quiet year so far this year, having a lot of injuries, and the Dallas Mavericks also struggling a little bit. Luka might explode onto the scene for this All-Star game, might being the MVP. Durant picking up Luka Doncic. I think Luka might be either going to LeBron with this pick, but I do also think LeBron really wants to play with Chris Paul. He loves playing with his friends, and I think Chris Paul's always been on LeBron James' team. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but going with that one. So that's how that's going to go, I believe. Now, again, thinking about team, building-wise, looking at this team, Curry, Trey, very good scorers. CP3 is a decent scorer. He's not really the scoring first type of guy. I think we need a little bit more scoring on this team. So I'm going to pick maybe the best scorer off of the reserve team. You could definitely have an argument over that, but it's also the teammate of Chris Paul as well, so maybe that'll help out with some team chemistry. And it's going to be Devin Booker. Very interesting. Now, of course, there are a lot of other really great scorers on here, but again, sort of team chemistry-wise, I think this is looking really, really, really solid for Team LeBron. Going over to Team Durant with his next pick. He already has a lot of scoring output. I think with Harden reserve list. Jimmy Butler, probably, man, maybe the best defender on this list. I mean, Giannis is a great defender. But yeah, I think Jimmy Butler might be, again, a player that might finish the game for whoever picks him up because, of course, again, the All-Star game is all about offense. But when it comes down to the last, 5 minutes of the game, it gets extremely scrappy. And Jimmy Butler, I might even put my money on it that he might end the game for whoever team he gets picked on. I think Durant knows that, picks him up for his team. Going back to Team LeBron, knowing that Jimmy Butler's off the sort of forward position listing, I think LeBron picks up. I'm not comparing these two players, but he needs a forward who can score, can do it all, and also a pretty decent defender as well. Picking up Jason Tatum for his team. Not bad, because he definitely needs another forward, because Booker is a guard, CP3 is a guard, he already has two guards in Curry and Trey, so I think his guard position is probably the best out of the two. Back over to Team Durant. Durant again does have some scoring. Luka Harden himself adding more scoring to this list for sure, and again, a player who can really go off for a plethora of points. I'm gonna say he picks up another rival in Zach LaVine. When looking at two guards, he only has Harden. Luka can, I guess, play the two. Even, Wiggins, I guess it could be a shooting guard, but getting a more defined scorer shooting guard, obviously a very highlight guy, a lot of dunking, a lot of three-point shooting out of LaVine. I think that's going to be a perfect player to have on his all-star team. These are looking really good. I think this is looking like a pretty even matchup, if I'm being completely honest. You know what? I think knowing how guard and forward heavy this draft is going to be this year, because there's not a lot of centers or even power forwards on this reserve list, I think LeBron might think a little strategically and maybe pick the best of the bigs based off of, offensive play, how much they can play like a guard, how good they can shoot and facilitate on the offensive end, who can also bring it on the defensive end when he's locked in. I think he picks sort of the best out of that group. And I think he picks up Big Cat Karl Anthony Towns, the first of the bigs to be picked off of the reserve list now. Of course, Rudy Gobert is probably the better of the two, you could argue, and then Draymond Green is a very great forward, defensive-wise, and, again, even a player who could probably even end the All-Star game would be Draymond Green, but Karl Anthony Towns, man, that guy is maybe one of the best shooters as a big in NBA history. You can look it up. He is an insane marksman as a big, plays a lot like a guard, and I think we'll be very excited to see him in the All-Star game this year. LeBron thinking strategically, picking up Big Cat. What else do we need for Team Durant? I think Durant needs a little bit more guard play, not, shooting guard wise. I think they're pretty set with LaVine and Harden, even Luka could play the two maybe. But again, a player's going to really show out this year, going home to an NBA All-Star game. Man, the first All-Star since, I guess it would be LeBron, maybe even Kyrie Irving, offensive player and also a very scrappy defensive player as well. Donovan Mitchell. Going back to Team Durant, I think this is where it gets really tough. I think obviously he's not going to pick Rudy Gobert. I don't think LeBron needs Gobert anymore now that he has Karl-Anthony Towns and Jokic. I think he's pretty much done with picking big. So knowing that Durant doesn't need to pick a big, I don't think LeBron is going to be picking Gobert anytime soon. And we don't know Draymond Green's replacement. So I think whoever the replacement is, I think we'll just go here. I'm just going to put Draymond Green's name down for now because even though it would be really sick to see Draymond Green play with Durant, I think that'd be a very sick combination. And again, a player could really much end the game for a lot of teams. I think Green, Jimmy Butler could end it. CP3 for Team LeBron, I think, is probably going to end the game as well. It's going to be very exciting. Draymond Green, a very tough competitor, definitely a guy you'd want on your team for sure during that sort of last crunch time scenario of the All-Star game. Going back to Team LeBron, again, just sort of filling out the team, looking out forwards. They have Tatum himself, DeMar DeRozan, probably going to need another sort of wing player, so I think he's going to pick up Chris Middleton here. Chris Middleton, again, just team building wise, it just makes sense. He's another forward, so you have Middleton, LeBron, DeMar, and Tatum as forwards. I think that's a good sort of a lineup of forwards for Team LeBron to finish that out. Then the last pick for Team Durant is that the only position he really needs is another big, so he's going to pick up Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, Rudy. I don't know why it is first name, but I like his first name. Rudy. Okay. And then the last pick of the NBA All-Star game is going to be Fred VanVleet. I'm just going to put Freddie. Freddie VanVleet. Again, I don't think, well, I don't want to say he's the worst player on the All-Star game. I don't really think there's any worst player. I mean, you could have an argument for any of these guys being the worst player. Well, not really, but you know what I mean? But him being probably the odd man out, kind of like again with Wiggins being the starter, it's like, like he's a good player, but not really ahead of really any of the other guys that I feel. But yeah, I think that is the All-Star game draft order. So with the starters, you have Curry, Giannis, Jokic, Ja, DeMar, Joel Embiid, Trae Young, and Wiggins. Then for the reserves, Harden, CP3, Luka, Booker, Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, Levine, Cat, Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Draymond Green, or the replacement, Chris Middleton, Rudy Gobert, Fred VanVleet. Pretty cool. But yeah, definitely let me know down in the comments some other All-Star snubs. So you could definitely comment down below maybe your biggest All-Star snub or how you feel like I did with the drafting. I think the drafting did really good. I think the starters I'm almost locking in. Like that is almost exactly how I think it's gonna go. It's pretty easy even I could say, but obviously the reserves are very crazy. I do think Durant does pick Harden first, and I do think LeBron probably picks either CP3 or Luka first, but they're picks. But then after that, it gets kind of wonky. Make sure you do also like the video. If you did like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel for all of the randomness I do on my channel. And yeah, subscribe to the channel as well. Almost at 10,000 subs. February 9th, the 5-year channel anniversary, and a live stream will also be on the 9th. Make sure you remember that. And I think that's everything. So I hope you are doing well. I hope you have a good night's sleep if you are going to sleep. And I'll be seeing you again in my next